Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel APM Guide. As a part of our APM server command line argument series, in this video we'll discuss about complete details and usage on arguments called address and port. So we'll see how exactly we can use these arguments, that is address and port, with our APM. Okay, though the first one is the argument is address. Okay, in APM the address argument specifies the IP address on which the APM server should listen for incoming connections. That means if we see the APM architecture, so from client we are sending some request to the APM server. Okay, the request has to go from particular IP address. Okay, here when you start the APM server, then only we can specify the incoming IP connections address details. Okay, so the address argument specifies the IP address on which the APM server should listen for the incoming connections. So that is the use of the address argument when you run with the APM server. Okay, and the usage, how the exactly the command look like. Okay, we had used APM double hyphen address, and we had to provide the IP address here. Okay, so here we will see the three cases here, that is a default, bin to all network interfaces, and specific network interface, and then we can see when to use these three. Okay, based on requirement here. Okay, the first one, okay, you see here, the first one will see the default, that is a local host. So normally when you are working on our laptops and our systems, we use basically the local host for personal use. Okay, then we had to use this to local host, we had used APM space double hyphen address argument, and we need to provide the local host, that is the 127.0.0.1. Okay, this is the IP address to access with the local host. So here what happens when you use this IP address, the server listens only on local host, means it would not be accessible from the other device on the network. Okay, that is a use here. And here if you not mention this address also, default the APM will run always on local host. Okay, if you use this command, this argument, that is the address, and we provide the 127.0.0.1, or if you use just as APM, so both are same here. So we'll see how exactly. Okay, now open the command prompt. So version we have using this 2.17.1. Okay, now I will start the APM server. Okay, so without the IP address I'm starting, you see here. So without any specifying the argument, address argument here. So you can see our APM server will start on local host default. You see here, see, it has started on the local host, that is the 127.0.0.1. Okay, if you not specify any address argument here, so we'll stop the APM server. And now what I will do, I will start the APM server with the address argument here. So I have used APM space double hyphen address, and I provide the IP address as 127.0.0.1. Okay, run it. See, here also, see, it shows the address, whatever address we have provided here. So here also it is the same as the above. Okay, you see here it has started on the 127.0.0.1. Okay, so if you not specify the address argument also, it will run on the local host. or if you want to specify the address argument with the local host IP, the same it will run the Appium server on local host. Okay, this is the first case. So it means the server listens only on local host, means it will not be accessible from the other devices on the network. Okay, so now come up the command prompt here. The second case we will see. So before that one, I stop the Appium server. Okay, now the second case is I want to give the address argument this value, that is the 0.0.0.0. Okay, so what will exactly this allows the Appium server to accept the connections from any device on the network. So if you use this order, that is the bin to all network interfaces. Okay, now quickly open the command prompt, and now what I will do, I'll run the Appium server. Okay, Appium space double hyphen address. Okay, here I have to provide 0.0.0.0. Okay, just click on enter. So my Appium server is started on this IP address. Okay, and this allow the Appium server to accept the connections from any device on the network. This is the advantage of this one. Okay, going back to our command prompt. Okay, this is the advantage. You can see here the IP address what I am using is 0.0.0.0. Okay, previously it was 127.0.0.1. Okay, that is one. Okay, now once again the stop the Appium server. Okay, now the third case, specify the network interface here. So we can provide the IP address for where the Appium server should listen. That is useful when running the Appium on a mission with multiple network interfaces. Okay, when you use this IP address here. So come back over here, command prompt. Okay, now I will start the Appium server on. I will give the address argument on the value here. So I am using 192.168.1.100. So you can provide any IP address you want to use here. Okay, your IP address. Okay, so you see address colon. So whatever the value I provided here, it has started on this one. Okay, this is how we can specify. You can see here. Okay, but this IP address is not working for me. Okay, just I want to show how exactly we can specify the network interface where we want to run this one. Okay, so we can provide the address argument with the local host. I had for working on the local host, I had to provide the 127.0.0.1 for Appium server to listen on local host. To bind all network interfaces, I had used the address argument with 0.0.0.1. On specific network interface, I had to start the Appium server with the address argument, and I had to provide the IP address where I want to run my Appium. Okay, so this is how we can able to use our Appium address argument. Okay, and when to use here. So when to use local testing, use 127.0.1 to restrict access to the local machine. Okay, to restrict the access to local machine, I had to use the local host, that is default one. Okay, remember that one. If you are running on local host, no need to specify the address argument with this IP address. Automatically when you say Appium server in command prompt, right, automatically to work with a local host here. Okay, to work on the remote testing, we can use this all network interface, that is a 0.0.0, or specify the IP address to allow devices or other machines to connect here. Okay, so this is how we can able to work with the Appium address argument. Okay, now the second argument is the port. The port argument in Appium server. So the port argument specify the port number on which the APM server listens for incoming request. As you know, by default the APM uses 4723, but we can change it to any available port. Okay, the default is the 4723. So previously we see in the IP address, now we are working with the port. Okay, so here, what are the incoming connections? The IP address and the port here. Okay, so here also we have three cases here. That is the default port, custom port, and multiple APM instances with the multiple port. Okay, now the first we see the first case here. So quickly run the command, open the command prompt here. Okay, and what I will do, I say APM, I use port, okay, instead of that one 4724. Okay, I provide this one, means I am starting the APM server on this port, that is the 4724. Okay, oh, this is a custom port here. Okay, so what I will do, I just close this APM server here. I will start a default port. The first case is a default port. Okay, so this one I will clear this log. Okay, now I say APM. If we not mention the port argument, automatically our APM server will start on the 4723. That is a default port of the APM server, and it should be available here. So if you see here, the default is a 4723. Okay, and now I want to see if no port is specified, the APM starts on the 4723. Okay, here I now specified the port argument here. Okay, now what I will do, I stop the APM server. Now I will do APM and I specify the port, that is default port. I said 4723. This is same case. Okay, if you not mention also, the default will be the 4723, the default one, and should be available. Okay, so you see the 4723 the port. Okay, so I stop the APM server. The second case is a custom port. So as you know, you can custom the port also here. So I not want the default port which is not available. I want to provide my own port which is available. It should be available. So what I will do, APM space double hyphen port, and I can specify the port number. So I say 5000. You see, now my APM server is running on this port. Okay, if you see here, so all the connections, incoming connections are working on this port. This is a 5000. Okay, just to open this command prompt, you see my port here, see 5000, because I have specified the port has 5000 for this argument here. Okay, this is the custom port. Start the server on the port 5000. Okay, so this second case. Close the APM server. Now I want to run the multiple instances. That is, if you need the APM server running on different ports. So this case we use on for parallel testing here. Okay, already I made a video on this parallel testing. I provide the links on this one. So if you see this parallel testing using separate APM instances for separate device, that is the running multiple APM server and sending one session to each server. So to achieve this parallel testing mode, I had to start my APM. So if you see the server side settings, I had to start the APM. Okay, see it says -p or double hyphen port also. Okay, this is alias name. Okay, so I had to specify the APM port and the number. Okay, so now to come back to command prompt here. Okay, this will be very handy when you are working with the parallel testing here. So I say APM double hyphen port, I say 10,000. So I am starting the APM server on this port 10,000. This is one APM instance. I want to serve one more, start the APM server one more instance. So I have to go command prompt, open the command prompt here. Just I say APM. So alias. So instead of using double hyphen port and providing this one, So what I will do, I use alias here. So this means I had to use just to say -p and provide the port number. That's it. So I started the two APM server instances with different port. Okay, this will be useful when you are working with the parallel testing. Okay, so we are touching the two APM servers on different port so that we can achieve the parallel testings here. Okay, already I made a video on this one. I provide the link in the description. Just go through this one so that you can see how we can do the parallel testing with the separate APM instances for separate devices. Okay, so coming back to our topic. So if you see here, just a minute, I'll open this one. So we run the multiple APM instances and we need to provide the different port here. So when to use? See, default 4723 works on most cases. Suppose we want to do a parallel testing, we can use the specified custom port here. So I had to run the APM server. Suppose I am working with parallel testing with two devices, I had to use two ports. If with three, we can use three here. So this is how we can able to use this arguments, that is the address and port with our APM server. Okay, if you like this video, please click on like button, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.